The full moon in Cancer is coming on the 13th of January, the first full moon of the year, and I'm here to give you some quick tips on how to protect your energy. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Hannah and welcome back, Cosmic Warriors. Before we dive in, if you want to learn more about astrology, then head on over to the Cosmic Check-In podcast. And if you would like to book a reading with me, then you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first. This, like I said, is the first full moon of 2025, and it takes place at 24 degrees, a Pisces degree. How fitting when we also consider the fact that the moon, so the full moon, will trine the recently entered North Node in Pisces, which, by the way, horoscopes for all of the signs are available all about the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. And also the full moon will create a trine with Neptune, which we will get to in a moment. The Pisces degree though, let's focus on this Pisces degree. It is a degree that is cleansing and purifying. It is dreamy, it's intuitive. It's about fantasy, escapism, blurring the lines between what is real and not. Therefore, the full moon in Cancer invites a deep dive, a deep cleanse, spiritual insight, a grand emotional release, a grand emotional reset, if you will. One that is healing, it's restorative. This is a full moon of rest and recovery, a time to give thanks to our emotions and how they actually keep us safe. Yes, this is about retreating for a little while to renew our energy and to keep ourselves safe from danger and harm. Think about times in your life when you need to distance yourself from a really unhealthy situation, or times when you must come to terms with your own energy field, with what you allow into your safe space. Now, this can also show up as our own negative attitudes and behaviors, times when we do not take responsibility or when we act childishly, times whenever we maybe become quite grumpy or moody, times when we cling onto a situation that actually it's not good for us. We know that deep down, but we still hold on, maybe out of fear of letting go. See, the significant thing about the full moon in Cancer kickstarting 2025 is Mars retrograde in Cancer conjuncts the moon. Ooh. Energetically, something might feel off. Instinctively, you may pick up on uncomfortable vibes from someone else, from a relationship, from an event. Maybe something which used to be comfortable, right? It used to be comfortable, it used to be familiar. It isn't anymore. And so it is up to you to make the decision. Do you keep up with appearances by allowing that behavior to continue, or do you assert yourself differently? This is a pretty powerful full moon, if you ask me. A moon that will challenge you, that will test you to take responsibility, to see what you have outgrown. The lessons of Pluto in Capricorn are here to stay. So remember your resilience, your inner authority. Remember in which ways you have matured. Respect yourself. Heck, parent yourself. Show up from that place. Recognize the lessons of empowerment and the fears you have addressed. Now, this full moon is a release. It's a release tied to the new moon intentions we set within our Cancer house, July of 2023. Intentions about protection, nurture, care, support, feeling safe. Our emotional security is just so highlighted here. The nodes also, and this is so mind-blowing to me, but the nodes also entered Aries and Libra on the same day of that new moon, which activated a crossroads feeling. But you see, the full moon says it is time to align with your emotional needs. This is not the time to sit on the fence, to be indecisive. You had all that time. You had all that time since July of 2023 to become clearer about your direction, about your identity. You know in your heart of hearts what the best thing is to do. Moreover, the first quarter moon in Cancer happened April 2024, and that highlighted a challenge along our path. Remember as well that around that time period, the solar eclipse in Aries took place. Hey, the lunar eclipse in Libra also took place. So again, these themes to do with relationships and our sense of self. Still, under the first quarter moon in Cancer, our intentions were challenged, but also strengthened. The square to the sun in Aries invited self-assertion challenges and inner frustrations. But here we arrive to the full moon in Cancer of 2025, a time of clarity, a time of great sensitivity, an opportunity to tune in with our feelings, our instincts, our intuition. And with the support of the sun in Capricorn, we can see what must be done practically. This is about coming up with solutions and putting our best foot forward to come from a place of integrity. Reaping rewards, of course, is also likely. Rewards tied to our emotional needs, our attachments, caregiving qualities. And some of those rewards may involve even caring for ourselves, nourishing ourselves, our bodies. See, 2025 is massive for emotional regulation and self-compassion, self-forgiveness. We see this with the North Node in Pisces, and then the full moon in Cancer opening this year calls for this heart-to-heart, this emotional honesty and bravery, protecting our energy to nourish our body and our mind, to connect with something spiritual, which is further highlighted, I think, by Mercury in Capricorn, sextile Venus and Saturn in Pisces under the full moon. Instead of continuing to walk into the fire, a fire that harms us, this is about choosing to walk away, possibly putting our swords down, to see in which ways we self-sabotage, we break our own heart time and time again by actively involving with things, getting involved with things which are not good for us. This could be smoking, drinking, gambling, one-sided relationships, unhealthy family connections, non-committal partners, too much time on social media, whatever it is, with the sun also being in Capricorn and hey, Mercury as well. This is about respecting ourselves, honoring our energy, being kind to our bodies, setting healthy limits, practicing self-care, and releasing negative vibes. Seeing that other people's emotions and feelings are not our responsibility. We cannot control how other people react to us, for instance, but you see, we can control how we react to other people. Oh yes, this is a full moon that invites us to know to address our triggers. For it is our triggers that act as our greatest teachers. There is still, of course, an opposition between Pluto and Mars retrograde, right? Mars may be retrograde in Cancer, but with the orb, there's still this opposition. Pointing to emotional tension and people lashing out. Sure, we could argue that it's not as strong, it's not as potent as it was at the very beginning of the month, but our moods may still be heightened and very passionate, especially if it is that we decide to make a change or we release something when it comes to an emotional attachment, an emotional connection, and then other people are up in arms about it. And if you find yourself around this full moon, feeling this way too, right, where sensitivities are really heightened, get curious, get curious about why that is. This isn't about judging. It's not about blaming. This is about getting to know yourself, your emotional needs and your reactions. With Saturn then conjunct Venus in Pisces, what a great energy for self-compassion, healing, and going within. And with the full moon making the same degree back to Neptune, okay, the degree with Neptune, perhaps we can let out our emotions through art, dance, journaling, yoga, yeah, meditation. We could do it through painting, listening to music. And hopefully by doing so, perhaps what we can do is we can clear space. Yes, this is such a great full moon for clearing space. We can clear space, we can make room for bigger and brighter things to pour through. We can make room for joy and happiness in our lives, which is really interesting to think about because the ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. One thing I'm going to say about this is remember, Jupiter's going to enter Cancer June of 2025. So we can look at this as we're clearing the space, we're getting rid of a few things to make room for the abundance and the opportunities and the growth and the luck of Jupiter coming into Cancer around June time for that year. But under the full moon in Cancer, yes, Jupiter is in Gemini, making a trine with Ceres in Aquarius, indicating a freedom, a flexible and adaptable outlook, being able to change our minds. And with the North Node creating a trine with Mars retrograde, this is about your destiny. You also consider the sextile between the North Node and Pluto, and the trine between the South Node and Pluto. You cannot hide under the first full moon of the year, for it will make you face your shadow and any delusions, and it will force you especially to take responsibility for your delusions, all with the hopes of experiencing greater emotional and spiritual freedom. With Uranus then also involved, you just might surprise yourself by how much you have grown emotionally, but also the unexpected could happen. So you better watch your step. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get into your horoscopes, and I do just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe, give the video a like, and if you are interested in picking up a copy of my astrology cheat sheets, then you can find the link down below. Okay, so firstly, Aries. The full moon will take place in your 4th house, Aries. So what I want you to think about firstly is just in which ways you have really grown and shown up when it comes to things like your purpose, your career path, your vocation, thinking even about how your reputation, how status, things like that have really transformed over many years. And so what we see here is that under the full moon, family stuff will come up. You know, this could be family dramas. This could be arguments and disagreements with family members. Maybe there's a level here then of having to protect your energy, having to keep yourself safe. And the thing about this too is it's almost as if the responsibilities that you've been taking on within your career, you know, it's those things that can in a way assist you or support you or push you to take that greater responsibility even within your family life, and being able to set hopefully healthier boundaries between you and certain family members. And with the trines to your 12th house, I think that there's a lot of these unconscious revelations that can come up to the surface, maybe about your life path, your direction, about further growth on your part. This could also be about you maybe being in solitude or just needing some time away from the public eye so that you can process your emotions. But overall, Aries, this is about you protecting your energy when it comes to any family dramas or stresses and conflicts, and hopefully showing some kind of maturity throughout the process, kind of being able to not get involved so much. Taurus. So the full moon in Cancer will happen in your 3rd house. All right. Firstly, what I want to think about here is that over the past number of years, your beliefs about the world, you know, your worldviews, your philosophies have really deeply changed. and you've evolved in many ways. And I do see this as you now being at this stage where perhaps you feel a bit stronger or like you're more resilient, even being more resilient about your teachings or about some higher educational situation. Still, I think this is a full moon that invites you to maybe release any tensions or stresses to do with sibling rivalry or to do with communication, disagreements. Maybe a part of it is about protecting your space, protecting your energy when it comes to communication, sort of thinking to yourself, do you know what, I don't need to explain myself. I've already been through so much. When I think about how my beliefs have really changed over these years, I don't want to get back into that same old routine, that same old habit anymore. I need to think about my own personal boundaries here. Then naturally with the trine to the 11th house, we could even look at this as you being supported by friends or being supported by your communities or by people that you have actually developed pretty solid bonds with over these past couple of years. Indeed, this is about if there are any uncomfortable emotions or feelings that come up, recognizing that there are people out there, friendships out there where you can be supported. Gemini, so the full moon will happen in your second house. Firstly, what I want to think about here, Gemini, is that over the many number of years, you've really grown into your own and even parts of yourself have shed when it comes to shared accounts, shared resources, thinking even about managing other people's money, maybe loss, things like that have really been a big part of your story. Intimacy, these deeper bonds have really been highlighted as well. And you have changed in really profound ways over these years, Gemini. So we come to this full moon, and what I feel is going to be really triggered and highlighted is any feelings of maybe insecurity or any self-worth triggers could come up. It could also be a case of financial matters coming to a head. Maybe there is some form of disagreement when it comes to shared accounts, shared resources versus your personal values, your personal resources, your spending habits. And then maybe this is also where protecting your energy plays out as, okay, I need to think about my emotional security. I really need to reflect upon any of my worries here and getting into maybe it could be a possible disagreement or confrontation about finances and resources. But hopefully we can also look at this as coming to a resolve, right? Being able to maybe address those emotional issues or being able to come from things from a more mature place. Then with the trine to the 10th house, of course, there's all that Pisces energy in the 10th. We can look at this as perhaps the support that you feel around this full moon, or the support that maybe you need or that you're looking for around this full moon related to your resources. A lot of this is tied to your purpose. It's tied to something bigger, so a lot of conversations about career, about your life path, your direction. These things are really gonna play out around the full moon. Cancer. So the full moon in Cancer will happen in your sign. So what I want to do firstly, just thinking about how you've really grown and how resilient you've been within one-to-one relationships, thinking about unconscious habits and compulsions that perhaps you have addressed when it comes to partnerships, especially with your significant other. This could also be business partnerships as well. Maybe you've really grown in your power and your strength within partnerships overall. But you see, with the full moon happening in your first house, there does seem to be something very individual about the moon. It's about, okay, I need to keep myself protected. There could be some disagreements basically about, maybe it could be shared resources. There could be disagreements about keeping things quite level and being responsible. And there could also be disagreements about commitment. Perhaps even this is a case of you needing to protect your energy by focusing more on yourself, focusing more on your health, okay, your body. I mean, there could be some health issues that arise around this full moon, honestly, Cancer. And it could also be that there's some conflict or disagreement about aims or goals. So maybe a part of it is about sitting down, and especially if it does involve somebody else, just sitting down, being responsible, being mature, being level-headed. Emotions are still perhaps going to come up, and you may also find that you get triggered. But yes, hopefully it is something that you can address as a unit, as a team, if it is that this stuff does involve a business partner or your significant other. Now, I will also say this just quickly, Cancer, yes, with the trine then to your ninth house, maybe a part of what really is shed or released under this full moon, related to emotional attachments, related to protection. Such matters are also tied to your deeply held beliefs. Maybe there is something about you getting in your own way, or maybe there is something unconscious playing out here. There could be a deeply held beliefs that's quite repetitive, and you're caught up in that cycle. And maybe it is about just speaking it out or trying to make sense of it for yourself. Or, this could be about how some goals that you're really wanting to set. These goals are somehow set related to travel or higher education. They could also be tied in a little bit with your own sort of views about the world. And so this is a full moon, I think, that will invite you to take an honest look, to honestly review where you're at and where you wish to go forward with when it comes to these areas as well. Moving on then to Leo. So the full moon will happen in your 12th house, Leo. Firstly, I want to think about how over the past number of years you've really changed and evolved and transformed when it comes to the services you offer, even when it comes to your health. I mean, maybe you've experienced certain health scares over the past number of years. This could also be a case of you really stepping into your personal power, so to speak, when it comes to your work, when it comes to your job. Yeah, you've shed old skin, you've shown up, you've shown integrity, hopefully, and great determination and resilience, Leo. So we arrive to this full moon in Cancer, and it happens in your 12th. So there could actually be a lot happening for you underneath the surface. Maybe you feeling very sensitive, very protective about your space, needing some time alone, just saying, you know what, people, I need time for me. I need to be on my own here. And that may be a big, important focus for you. And it could also be suggested where there's some level of like healthy limits, healthy boundaries in a way, because it's like, well, yes, for my health, this is why I need this time alone. It could also be a case of you maybe reevaluating any stresses or anything that concerns you with relation to, it could be spiritual practices, spiritual subjects. This could also be about just you ruminating or having to address the times in which you get in your own way. Energetically, it could just be like something feels off. I feel really limited. Not today. I cannot face this day. So yeah, I would say definitely to practice self-care around this time period, to look after yourself, to go within, to remember your spiritual practices, and hopefully being kind to yourself throughout the process. And also what I will say with the trines happening to your 8th house, it could be, that there is a lot of psychological unconscious stuff, things that are hidden that you're not really seeing right now. Maybe even a part of this is just try your very best to let the challenging wave or emotions just run their course, because there could be something here about, you're not seeing things clearly, or you don't have all of the information that you need. But hopefully as well, you can look at this as being supported in some way, shape or form by a partner, some healthy forms of realism to help you feel a bit more grounded. Virgo. All right, so the full moon will happen in your 11th house. And I want to think about how over the past number of years, Virgo, Matters to do with your creativity, your self-expression, confidence, things like that have really evolved and transformed, and maybe a lot has changed and shifted within you. Thinking even about ego shifts, ego breakthroughs, ego transformations, essentially, Virgo. So with the full moon happening in your 11th house, it could be that, you're experiencing some kind of issue or a challenge, or there could be some anger related to friendships or communities or teams or your place in the world. It's sort of like you're at odds with that, or you're really thinking about that, and just a lot of emotional stuff is coming up. And maybe a part of it too is you just want to feel safe, and maybe there's a fear in some way, shape, or form to do with safety and security within friendships, teams and groups and so on. So hopefully we can look at this as a significant release, shedding, or you being able to protect your energy, especially if it is that you feel like, I've been giving a lot, or I've been really trying to work on this, but it just seems like nothing is changing. So we could also look at it through a lens of just being responsible, being respectful towards yourself and others, but to just even show integrity and thinking about being your own authority. So if there is anything that you really want to address within groups and teams, maybe this is a full moon that can invite that shift, and that within itself can be quite purifying, or it can assist you emotionally. We really just think about certain emotional attachments to certain clubs or friendships. Then mixed in a little bit with the 7th house. Okay, so there's the Pisces energy in the 7th with the trine. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is about one-sided relationships. A lot of this is about one-to-one connection. How have things changed, or have you maybe outgrown something, right? That's the thing, I guess, with the sun being in Capricorn. It's sort of shining a light on, okay, Pluto was there, you've outgrown this situation. So yes, I think a lot of this could be related to certain relationships that you've outgrown and that you want to move forward from. Hey, you know what? It could also be a case of clients and customers and how things might have felt a bit stagnant for you recently. And so there is a sense of really wanting to protect your energy and to stand up for yourself so that you can make it through this rocky period. Libra, all right, so the full moon will happen in your 10th house. So firstly, what I want to think about is just the resilience on your part, the determination, the strength on your part when it comes to especially your living situation, family matters, how you've really grown and what you've outgrown, even what you've outgrown when it comes to emotional attachments, or when it comes to emotional security, your emotional security. Yes, certain patterns and cycles have been broken in many ways, I think, for you, Libra. So we arrived to the full moon in your 10th house, and this is about protecting your energy when it comes to maybe competitive behaviors, with relation to your career, with relation to your professional lives. This could also be about protecting your emotional space and recognizing, okay, when am I getting triggered when it comes to people within my career space? Is it that I feel like I need to really stand up for myself? I need to be wary of certain people. Yeah, you could be triggered, but it's also about perhaps recognizing a release or a shift, right? Releasing some tension, releasing some frustration as well. Mix this in a little bit with the 6th house influence happening in Pisces. Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is about work, co-worker relationships, colleagues, bosses, managers. Yeah, and also I think a big part of the emotional release for you and being able to protect your energy, especially when it comes to those professional areas, and even how those areas could be some way, shape, or form triggered by older patterns or unconscious patterns, family dynamics. But as that's all sort of happening, I think a lot of this is about health. Okay, it's about health, nourishing yourself, self-care, Libra. Hopefully you can recognize whenever you're feeling overwhelmed around this full moon and take care of yourself. Scorpio, okay, so the full moon in Cancer is going to happen in your 9th house. First and foremost, let's think about how over the past number of years, Scorpio, my goodness, your voice, the way you communicate has really transformed. it's almost like when it comes to a certain topic or subject, you have went above and beyond. This is about you becoming your own authority. This has also been about recognizing your own personal power when it comes to your mindset. You know, there's that self-mastery with Capricorn. So you've really shown up, I think, in many ways here, Scorpio. Okay, the full moon then happening in your ninth house, what we're going to see here is it could be some frustrations or arguments or disagreements to do with self-beliefs or just beliefs in general, why people believe what they believe in, and then you may be disagreeing, or it could be a case of certain people's truths or messages not really adding up. It could also be a case of you protecting yourself from certain philosophies or worldviews that are just not very good for you, not healthy for you. Maybe there is a significant release or shedding that happens. Such matters could also maybe be about training programs or courses that you're a part of, and you're finding yourself just getting into all of these confrontations. And so again, it's like, hey, I need to retreat. I need to protect myself. I need to think about my own safety and security here. Then when we combine this with Neptune and the Pisces influence basically in your fifth house, we could look at this as you taking some time away to focus more on your creativity, maybe healthy forms of escapism and solitude to do with creative projects, or just, hey, some time off. Some time off around this full moon, Scorpio, could really be revitalizing and restorative for you. Moving on then to Sagittarius. So the full moon will happen in your 8th house, Sagittarius. Firstly, let's think about how, wow, you've really stepped into your power. You've really stepped it up. You've leveled up in many ways when it comes to your resources, your spending habits. You've taken responsibility. You've been your own authority. Of course, when it comes to Pluto, we're still integrating the lessons of Pluto being in Capricorn, but I just wanted to highlight that. And then the thing about this too is with the full moon happening in your 8th house, what's going to really be brought up to the surface could be maybe conflicts or disagreements related to shared resources, shared accounts, thinking just about how you combine your resources or your money with your partner. Could be a business situation as well. This could also be a case of your significant other or your partner, and it's more about their money, and maybe there's some stress or tension happening. There's a challenge present here, but hey, this is also then about sort of bringing attention to those areas, and then thinking about, okay, well, how can we show integrity? How can we take responsibility of this? How can we maybe make a bit of a plan to help us through this perhaps slightly turbulent time? But hey, thinking about it more so in terms of your emotions, we can look at this as, okay, emotional bonding, trust, commitment, vulnerability, these things being triggered and really activated, intimacy really being activated around this full moon. And then a big part of protecting your energy is being able to communicate, I need this, I need my space, I need my time to process, how I'm feeling about this situation. If it is that there is anything that comes up that, really, really triggers you. To mix this in then with the 4th house, so we've got Pisces in the 4th, with the trine then happening to the 4th house. Hey, maybe certain family members can help you through this. If there is something that is quite emotional and it feels intense, we can look at it even as returning to your own safe space, returning to your home life, your family environment for some time alone, to be in solitude, just being able to maybe reflect a little bit, to contemplate. Just in general here, Sagittarius, this is very much about your own emotional boundaries. Capricorn. Okay, so the full moon is going to happen in the sign opposite you, Capricorn, and Cancer in the 7th. So firstly, let's just think about how you've really evolved and transformed and changed when it comes to your purpose, your life's work, your mission here. Purpose is such a key word when it comes to you, Capricorn. And so Pluto in your sign has been a really good opportunity for you to think, okay, well, what is my purpose? What is my why? What are my intentions for what I do? What is the mountain of success that I'm climbing here? And what a road it has been, Capricorn. And I'm still going to say this, celebrate yourself, especially still with it being your season. Happy birthday to all of you solar Capricorns out there. So we notice here then under this full moon in Cancer, what could happen here is that a lot of stuff comes to the surface when it comes to one-to-one partnerships. And a big part of this is protecting your energy, protecting your emotions. If it is that you get triggered, or if it is that you feel a type of way about something, maybe a part of this too is about just feeling secure and feeling safe and supported within your one-to-one relationships. Maybe there's a release, there is some kind of letting go here. Maybe it is also that you feel a bit more like, you know what, we're on the same page. You know, you think about even with the sun being in your sign, it's sort of shining a light of integrity and responsibility and trying to come at things from a more sort of practical place at the same time. And then we also notice with the trines between the full moon and then Pisces. So Pisces is in the third house, I almost forgot there, is in the third house for you. So communication is key, honestly. Communication, especially communicating in hopefully more of a compassionate way, or in a way to really understand. Just listen, you know, listening to the needs of your significant other, listening to the needs of your business partner. Hopefully with this axis of the first 7 houses, it's more about reciprocity, collaboration. It's being able to see that each person has their own individual perspective. Aquarius, all right. The full moon will happen in your 6th house. What I want to think about then is a lot has really changed for you, how much you've evolved when it comes to your hidden self, when it comes to your shadow. Yes, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, physically, you've really, really changed, Aquarius. It's just almost like you don't even recognize yourself in a way. And the thing about this is, hey, it may not even be super visible to other people. It's just that you feel it, right? You feel it. And it's been quite the journey as well for you, I think. Right. Let's think about how, yes, the full moon will happen in your 6th house. So what could come up around this full moon is you feeling really this physiological urge to keep yourself supported, to keep yourself safe. A big part of this is protecting your emotions, protecting your physical body. This is about your health, attending to your health. This is also about recognizing maybe when you might get in your own way, what really triggers you, perhaps in a more subconscious way, because of course even the sun is in the 12th house, shining its light there on the 6th for you. So yeah, there could be a lot that really comes up to the surface, and that's really good too, because you can get out in front of it. You know, you can maybe start to make sense of, oh, right, okay, so there's maybe this challenge I have to do with being seen or being recognized by other people or being respected by other people. We could also hopefully look at this through a lens of just showcasing greater responsibility and integrity when it comes to your schedules, your routines, self-care, nourishing your body. Yeah, just taking care of yourself. Then we also mix this in with the 2nd house influences with Pisces there. Yeah, maybe a big part of protecting your energy under this full moon is related to self-worth. It's related to your financial health. A part of it even is about your skills and your talents and your gifts, and just believing in those. So believing in your capabilities, believing that you do have what it takes. I mean, perhaps it has been quite a rocky time for you, Aquarius, with Saturn in your 2nd house. But just under this full moon, yes, there could be a lot of emotions that come up, the triggers that come up, but hopefully you can work with those triggers in a more hopefully productive way, you know, in a way where you can not be so hard on yourself, but also take healthy action, take healthy responsibility if there is anything that you want to change, especially when it comes to financial areas. Lastly, then we've got Pisces. So Pisces, the full moon will happen in your 5th house. So firstly, let's think about how over these number of years you've really evolved and matured when it comes to your communities, your friendships. I mean, certain friendships and communities have fallen away, but you've also hopefully been able to connect with like minds. Challenging the status quo has also been a pretty significant thing for you. Just even recognizing your own uniqueness within your groups, within your teams and communities has been quite big. So with the full moon happening in your 5th house, I think it's going to bring up a lot of sort of self-expression stuff, ego-related stuff coming from the heart. Your creativity, your individuality will really be challenged. Maybe a part of this is protecting your energy when it comes to your individuality. It's about protecting yourself when it comes to your creative projects and your heart. Perhaps there is this level of protection when it comes to your heart, especially if it is that you feel in some way triggered or challenged by certain people. Maybe a part of this is being able to recognize what doesn't serve you when it comes to certain teams or group dynamics, for instance, and showing integrity, showing responsibility, really focusing on that whole thing of quality over quantity when we think about this Saturnian Capricorn influence in your 11th house, Pisces. Then we also want to mix this in with the fact that, Saturn is in your sign, Venus is there. So many themes about self-love, so many attractive, abundant themes, but also responsibly, also showing healthy forms of practicality and responsibility and commitment to the self, right? Commitment to your life's path. So we blend this a little bit in with the full moon. And so protecting your energy related to your creativity or your individuality could also be strongly linked with more of your lifelong goals, or it's more related to your physical body, your health. And a lot of this stuff then under the full moon is strongly about nourishing your body. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that is the full moon in Cancer. I really hope this video has prepared you for the full moon in this sign. And if you did find the information to be helpful today, you can always buy me a coffee. Stay tuned for more, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.